Across the vast tapestry of human history, there are stories that spark wonder, challenge our beliefs, and open the door to the unknown. One such story revolves around Jesus of Nazareth, the central figure of Christianity, revered as the Son of God. But what if there's more to his story than we've been told? Could it be that Jesus' wisdom was not solely divine, but also shaped by ancient teachings from the East? Could Jesus have been a Buddhist monk? This is no ordinary question. It's a mystery that has intrigued historians, theologians, and spiritual seekers for centuries. Today, we're going to embark on a journey through ancient scriptures, forgotten legends, and startling parallels between Jesus' teachings and Buddhist philosophy. By the end of this video, you might just see the story of Jesus in a whole new light. The lost years of Jesus, a gap in history. The Bible provides detailed accounts of Jesus' early life, his miraculous birth, his visit to the temple at age 12, and then silence. For nearly 18 years, from his adolescence to the beginning of his public ministry at age 30, Jesus vanishes from the pages of history. What happened during these lost years? Some speculate that Jesus stayed in his hometown of Nazareth, quietly learning carpentry. But others believe he traveled far beyond the borders of Israel, to India, Nepal, and Tibet, where he might have studied Buddhism. The idea may sound far-fetched, but consider this. By the time Jesus lived, Buddhist teachings had already spread across much of Asia, reaching as far as the Middle East. Caravans along the Silk Road carried not only goods, but also ideas, linking the spiritual traditions of the East and West. Could a young man seeking wisdom have found his way to these ancient centers of learning? Common threads and teachings. The similarities between Jesus' message and Buddhist philosophy are striking and, to some, too close to ignore. Let's explore some of the most compelling parallels. Compassion and love for all beings. Jesus taught, love your neighbor as yourself, and even love your enemies. Buddhism, too, places immense value on compassion, encouraging practitioners to cultivate loving kindness, metta, for all beings, even those who wrong them. Both paths call for an expansion of the heart beyond tribal or personal boundaries. Detachment from material wealth. Jesus' warning that you cannot serve both God and money mirrors the Buddhist teaching that attachment to material things leads to suffering. Both figures urge their followers to seek spiritual treasures rather than earthly riches. Parables and accessible teachings. Jesus communicated profound truths through simple, relatable parables like the Good Samaritan or the prodigal son. Similarly, the Buddha used everyday stories and metaphors, such as the parable of the mustard seed, to make his teachings accessible to all, regardless of their status or education. Non-violence and forgiveness. Jesus' forgiveness of his executioners, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," reflects the Buddhist ideal of overcoming anger with compassion. Both figures emphasized peace, forgiveness, and the rejection of violence. Legends of Jesus in the East. Outside the Christian tradition, fascinating stories emerge of a figure remarkably like Jesus, known as Issa, or issa, traveling and teaching in the East. The Hemis Monastery manuscripts. In the late 19th century, a Russian traveler named Nicholas Notovich claimed to have discovered ancient texts at the Hemis Monastery in Ladakh, India. These texts supposedly tell of a saint named Issa, who traveled from Israel to India, studied with Buddhist monks, and taught a message of love and compassion before returning to his homeland. Although the veracity of Notovich's account has been hotly debated, it remains a tantalizing possibility. The Bhavishya Purana. This ancient Hindu text refers to a figure resembling Jesus, who visited India during the 1st century. Known as Issa Masih, he is described as a holy man who preached spiritual truths aligned with both Eastern and Western philosophies. The tomb of Uz Asaf in Kashmir. In the region of Kashmir, there is a tomb that some claim to be the final resting place of Jesus, who supposedly survived the crucifixion and spent his later years in India. While this claim lacks strong evidence, the legend adds another layer to the mystery of Jesus' connection to the East. Why this idea challenges the Christian Church. The suggestion that Jesus may have been influenced by Buddhism or other Eastern traditions strikes at the heart of traditional Christian doctrine. Here's why it sparks resistance: the uniqueness of Jesus. Christianity portrays Jesus as the divine Son of God, whose teachings are entirely original and rooted in divine revelation. The idea that Jesus learned from Buddhist monks implies that his wisdom was not unique, but shared across different spiritual traditions. Theological implications. If Jesus' teachings were influenced by Buddhism, it raises questions about the exclusivity of Christianity as the one true faith. This could blur the boundaries between Christianity and other religions, challenging long-held theological positions. Authority and tradition. For centuries, the Church has been the guardian of Jesus' story. Introducing alternative narratives could disrupt established traditions and potentially weaken the Church's authority over its followers. Fear of syncretism. Syncretism, or the blending of religious traditions, has often been viewed with suspicion by religious institutions. The possibility of Jesus embracing or being influenced by Buddhist ideas could be seen as diluting the purity of Christian teachings. A mystery that transcends time. The idea of Jesus as a Buddhist monk is not just a question of history, it's a question of perspective. Whether or not he traveled to the East, the parallels between his message and Buddhist philosophy suggest a universal truth that transcends culture and religion. It's a reminder that wisdom can take many forms and arise in the most unexpected places. What do you think? Could the lost years of Jesus hold the key to one of history's greatest mysteries? Did his teachings arise solely from divine revelation, or were they enriched by ancient wisdom from the East? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're fascinated by spiritual mysteries like this one, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, Dewy Ruin. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.